into another episode of the Es Una Final podcast. After the international break, we are back previewing Real Madrid's games as usual. And as usual, I have Charlie here with me. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thanks so
Today, we are
much.
here to talk about Real Madrid versus Celta Vigo. We're going to obviously preview the game just like we have done for the first three games. We'll also talk about a couple of other Real Madrid related things. So we will dive right into that. So Charlie, how have you been during this international break? I myself, I haven't watched much football intentionally. I was also away for one weekend actually, but I've tried to be a little bit away from football, but I still like followed Ronaldo breaking the record, and I was watching Argentina play today. But I don't remember, apart from these two, following much football during this time. I did follow the Femenino game yesterday when they beat Manchester City to get into the group stages of the Women's Champions League. But yeah, it's been nice. It's been relaxing. But I do want to know what you have been up to during this international break. What was it for you?
Yeah, I watched the Femenino game as well, which is just awesome. I'm so chuffed for them. That
Yeah.
is amazing. History.
Mhm.
That's so cool. Watch US qualifying. So that was
Yeah.
a quite the ride there with the first couple draws. Some MLS as well, which is great.
Mhm.
Underrated league if you don't watch. Get into
Mhm.
MLS. It's fun. It's not the most talented, but it's a lot of fun. That was pretty much it. So I'm really missing European men's club football. I am very much looking forward to getting back into a normal or semi-normal schedule. Obviously, we're missing a couple of games this weekend in La Liga due to some questionable antics with the Spanish FA and the Brazilian FA. So that's, like I said, a tad questionable. But I'm looking forward to having a semi-regular schedule of games coming back to us here.
Yes, I completely agree. Like to that questionable part, because I mean, two of Brazil's players are right now, I think, playing like they're Real Madrid players, so you don't postpone their games. Like how many players does Barcelona and Sevilla have, and their opponents have, who are playing today? I honestly don't know. The number cannot be more than what Real Madrid has at stake here. So, like, I'm not saying that don't postpone games or whatever. The Spanish Federation and La Liga were, officially opposing FIFA's decision to have these games played, or they were opposing to release their players. I was completely on board with that. But if you have to postpone games, I think this whole round should have been postponed, not just a select few games for a select few teams. And it's inconsistent. Like some teams have more players playing in South America right now, and some teams don't. And if you postpone games with teams that don't really have many players from these teams that are playing right now, it doesn't really make much sense. So, that's La Liga. Just another
Yes,
day
it
at
is.
the office for La Liga.
Yep.
Yep, just another day at the office for La Liga. But coming Sunday, it's going to be another day for us at home at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu. We're coming back with fond memories, of course. The last time Real Madrid played at the Bernabeu, we defeated Barcelona twice, 2-0. Vinicius Jr. and Mariano Diaz, of course, on the score sheet. A lot have changed since then, of course. Rafael Varane, Sergio Ramos, and Zinedine Zidane, who are all integral parts of that game, have moved on. Barcelona also doesn't have Lionel Messi from that game, but we're not facing Barcelona. We're facing Celta Vigo this weekend. I'm anticipating, I think, close to 30,000 fans. The ground looks beautiful, and I
It
am
does.
unbelievably impressed that they made this happen. It didn't even like a week ago. It didn't look like that they're gonna have it ready on time, but they've done it. What do you think about coming back home?
I am so excited. I will not lie. I mean, seeing the pictures they've been releasing for the past couple days, like you said, it looks fantastic. I never thought I would be this attached to a football ground that I've never been to in my life, but I am just so excited. I think it'll just provide a sense of comfort to be watching a Real Madrid game and to see the background of those seats and just the way the stands is set up. I mean, it's just a bit of familiarity. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that. I mean, Valdebebas is it's great, but it's nothing to the Santiago Bernabeu. I mean,
Exactly. And when they first started playing at the Alfredo Di Stefano Stadium, it took some time for me to like get accustomed to not seeing those seats and those backgrounds where it's written realmadrid.com all around. Not seeing that. It took some time to get adjusted. But still, like, fond memories from Valdebebas as well. We won a league title there. We defeated very strong opponents like Inter Milan, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, also Liverpool in Valdebebas. So it was a good run. But finally, we're back home, and I completely agree to like what you said about I've never been so attached to something where I've never been yet. I mean, I even like wrote this in my editorial for Madrid Betar that this ground is everything for Real Madrid fans. The ones that get to see the games from inside the ground, and the ones that see it from their TV screens or mobile screens or whatever. This ground is just everything. So it's really good to see Real Madrid coming back here, the fans coming back into the Santiago Bernabeu. I hope the stadium gets finished. Now I'm hopeful that it will actually get the complete refurnishing would get finished in time, because I think they've done a spectacular job to get this done on time here. And so the next agenda I think we can bring up is Eduardo Kamavinga. We did talk about him a little bit in our Match Day 3 review episode. And I just want to touch upon the Kamavinga topic one more time, because I'm really excited to see him play for Real Madrid. And because of the injury issues of Kroos and Casemiro probably not making it in time for this game, we might actually see Camavinga play a significant role against Celta. Who knows? The squads are not out yet when we're recording this, but I am so stoked, so hyped about this kid. I would also like to know your view.
Yeah, you put it best. I am stoked. I am so happy. He is such a fantastic signing. And I mean, the price tag, I think it's fitting for a player of his quality and his potential. I'm not big on the train of buying someone based on their potential over their skill level at the current moment, but I think he is an exception for this. From what we've seen for the past season and a half or so out of him, he's been fantastic. He's an incredible ball winner, an incredible ball carrier. His passing is better than what it should be for someone of his age. He's got a confidence about him when he's on the ball, and his progression and drive to move at opposition defenses is like none other of his age. So I am just so excited, and I do think, based on the roster at the moment, I do think he will be starting this weekend. And I am very excited to see him starting on. Who else I also believe will be starting in midfield for Real Madrid this weekend, but I think we'll get into that a bit later. I'm just, like you said, stoked. There's no better word for it than that.
Yes, and as a footballer yourself, you'd also, I think connect with this better, that when I like saw previous clips of Camavinga, I see this intuitive vision in this kid, like that is not natural for a kid just 18 years old. Like when where he receives the ball and immediately shifts, rotates himself, and finds a passing outlet out of nowhere. Those things, like we see those from like seasoned veterans. He still obviously like needs polishing in so many aspects of his game, but what he has at this stage as a midfielder, the flair he has is gives me so much hope, because usually you probably associate these with wingers or forwards. We have two of them at our club, Vinicius and Rodrigo. They've always had that flair, that excitement around their game, regardless of the productivity or efficiency. But Camavinga produces that in the midfield, and I think in a much more sophisticated way at this stage of his career.
Yeah, he reads the game so incredibly well for someone of his age. Like you said, you expect that out of a seasoned veteran or someone with much more experience. I would liken him to Pedri. And I mean, as much as I absolutely despise Barcelona, Pedri is an incredible superstar.
Yeah, generational, absolutely generational.
I would liken Camavinga's ability to scan and read the game similar to Pedri's. I think Pedri at the moment has probably got he's a bit higher up, which he is, I believe he's just a tad older, but I mean, yeah, I would say Pedri right now has the top of the scanning and readability of the game for that age group, but Camavinga he's just a tad behind. He's fantastic, and I cannot wait to see how he blends with all of our other incredibly talented midfielders that we have in the squad right now, because there's so much he can learn from players like Kroos and Modric. I mean, who else would you rather have tutor you at that stage in your career. I mean, you couldn't pick anyone better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing that also impressed me, because both Camavinga and Antonio Blanco spoke to media outlets during the last couple of days, and both of them like spoke about these Kroos, Modric, Casemiro things, that it doesn't matter how much competition there is, or like how much minutes you're playing, where you're playing. If you get to learn from Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, I mean, like these guys, I honestly don't think like they get enough credit. This midfield trio. We obviously, like, I myself criticize Casemiro a lot for his ball playing ability, but still, when you put this trio in their heyday under Zinedine Zidane, there was no better midfield in Europe from the year 2016 to 2018, and even during the last 2-3 years when they played different roles under Zinedine Zidane. So yeah, Camavinga, Antonio Blanco, even Fede Valverde, they could not have asked for any better people to soak all of this knowledge from, and I'm just so happy that all of them play for my club.
Me too. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yep. So, all right, let's dive into the game. La Liga match day 4. Real Madrid and 4 other clubs, I believe, are right now equal on points. Real Madrid are top of the table because of a goal scored, I believe. We would like to keep the winning run, of course. Celta Vigo is an opponent. Is again, like we talk about this so much, that these opponents, they always play good against Real Madrid. So Celta Vigo is definitely an opponent not to be taken lightly at this stage of the season. Although Celta is not going through a good period. They have only 1 draw from the first 3 games. They've lost to 1 point, sitting 18th on the table. And for them, I think as a confidence booster to grab a point or 3 from Real Madrid and be, party spoilers at the Bernabeu would be, it's the perfect opportunity for them right now. How do you see them stack up against this Real Madrid side, Charlie? Let's get into that discussion first.
Okay. Their lineup, I believe, will be fairly unchanged from the past weekend or so. The only change, they had Fontan in a center back. He's been injured recently. So I'm sure we're going to see Santimina and Iago Aspas line up in the front line. It's going to be a 4-4-2 diamond. That's what their manager, Eduardo Kamavinga, likes to use. It's going to be largely unchanged from anything you've seen from Celta recently. So like I said, Iago Aspas, Santimina up top. Former Barcelona man Denis Suarez in the attacking mid number 10 role. Nolito out on the left of the diamond. Bryce Mendes, who is fantastic. I love Bryce Mendes. He'll be on the right. Renato Tapia, who's also fantastic. One of the best holding midfielders in the league. He'll be anchoring in that midfield 4. Javi Gilan, new transfer. Incredible crosser of the ball. He's going to be very dangerous, I think. One of their main offensive threats. He'll be at left back. Hugo Malo will be on the right. And Nestor Arujo and Aidu will be probably the center back pairing. Not sure on that. That's the one area that I'm a little concerned on. I don't know. And Di Turdo will most likely be the goalkeeper. And he's been doing very, very well as of late. I think he's overperforming his post-shot expected goal value by around 2, just 3 games into the season, which is crazy numbers for just starting out. So that's how I think they'll line up. Do you have anything against that? Do you think there'll be any changes out of that?
No, I think you put it perfectly. I think that is the most suited lineup that they would go with. What I'm concerned about is Ancelotti would have to be very careful on who he picks as the right-sided center back. What does he go with? Nacho, who has just returned to training, or does he start with Militao, who has played so many minutes and just by the time Militao gets to training today, he would have just finished a 6-hour flight and I think a 2 to 3 hour break, and then he has to go to training, something like that. So Militao would definitely be tired. Why I say this, because Santimina, Nolito, and Javi Galan, all of those 3 they're going to be bombarding the left half space and the left hand flank of Real Madrid, where Real Madrid's right back and RCB are going to be operating from. I do trust Carvajal to take up this challenge and do well, at least defensively. Whether at the same time, he wasn't very good with the ball in the last game, although he scored the goal. I do trust him defensively, but I think Ancelotti has to be really careful and absolutely sure who he picks for the right-hand side center back, because it's going to be a battle. I think if whatever creation happens, it's going to happen on that side, because Aspas is on the other side and he can probably pick off a rebound or something, or pick off whatever they've created on the left hand side, whatever carnage they've created. So yeah, that's, I think, going to be a huge call from Ancelotti. Having said that, my ideal starting lineup from the available players would probably be Courtois, Carvajal, Militao, Alaba, and Miguel, not Marcelo. Although I'm sure like Marcelo is gonna start. It looks like he's gonna start, because and he has been saying, sharing a lot of stuff on social media as well, that we're back home in 2 days, 3 days. So as much as Miguel impressed very much in the last game, I think Marcelo might just get the nod ahead of him, which I don't like. I think I would have started with Miguel anyway. I don't think Mendy is going to be started in this game. I don't think he makes it. Just from a physical standpoint, I don't think he makes it. If he does, it's going to be a huge surprise. And if he does, I think he starts at a left back. But I think at the moment, Miguel is at the bottom of the left back starting pecking order, just because of his fitness for now. In the midfield, well, I don't know. I think Uruguay's game already finished. I think if Valverde is fit, it can be, for the starting positions, it can be Modric, Isco, and Valverde. If Casemiro doesn't make it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts Casemiro as well. Probably not risking Modric and starting with Valverde and Isco, because Modric has also just come back. But in this game, I definitely see Blanco and Camavinga come into the fray at some point of time, because Camavinga, honestly, he's playing in training as if he's been here for 5 years or something. In the front line, Vinicius hasn't played today, and I think Ancelotti trusts him again over Belgium's captain, because he did play well during the international break, and even Roberto Martinez went on to say that this is his best version since November 2019, which is a bold statement. Mm-hmm. And he was actually fantastic against the Czech Republic. He blew them apart. It was I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights, and he was bonkers. So Vinicius or him, it's gonna be a tough call. But the other two slots, I think Benzema and Rodrigo start, because Bale is not training. I think today he has some issues, and here we are. Gareth Bale's honeymoon period until September is over. Is over. So I think, and Rodrigo didn't even travel, so I might think that Rodrigo might get the nod ahead of the others, just again due to his physical freshness. What do you think about Real Madrid's starting lineup?
Yeah, I'm going to differ from you just a little bit. I agree. Every point you made is it's right. I just think that, I can absolutely see Ancelotti go with it. I think Nacho will start. Mm-hmm. I don't think Ancelotti's going to be playing any of the Brazilians or Fede Valverde. I hope he would. If Casemiro has any, if he's fit and able to play, I would certainly hope he plays. Same with Fede Valverde. We're going to need them when I'll talk about how we need to defend Celta properly. I firmly believe we need Casemiro for this game. So yeah, I do think Marcelo will start on the left. Alaba and Nacho will start at the center back roles. Carvajal on the right. Like I said, Casemiro, if he is fit, he should be starting. But I think we're going to see Isco, Camavinga, and Blanco start. I think Modric will be rested for the game against Inter Milan on Tuesday. So that is I don't know how that midfield will work. It could be a single pivot with Blanco behind Camavinga and Isco. It could be a double pivot with Camavinga and Blanco. I would do horrible things I can't talk about, just nasty things, to see Blanco, Camavinga, and Fede Valverde play together.
Yes. Where do I sign? Yes. Of course.
The things I would do to see that. But I do think it'll be Isco, Camavinga, and Blanco, and then I think Hazard will start on the left wing and Rodrigo on the right with Karim Benzema up top. That is mine. I think after he played so well for Belgium, I think Ancelotti will give Hazard the start, and Brazil is playing at the moment. Vinicius has not come on yet, but I do believe he will make some sort of cameo in that match. So I think he will be rested or be forced to go through some sort of quarantining process where he will not be able to start in the match. So that's mine. I can see it go either way. There are so many different lineups you could go with. So many lineups that I think would be better than other lineups. So I'm very interested to see what Ancelotti goes with this match.
Yes, and also like we completely forgot that even if Bale or Rodrigo doesn't start, Ancelotti still has Asensio and Lucas Vazquez for the right wing position. And although he has, like another interesting discussion is that this match might be a perfect opportunity for Ancelotti to try Asensio in the midfield, because like if the Brazilians are not, the Brazilians and Valverde are not playing, then Asensio gives you a good option at midfield. And the Inter Milan game is like, although like this is una final, every game is a final, and Zidane actually got that from Ancelotti. I can't remember from where this exactly happened. I'm just going to go off track for a little bit. I think during the 2013-14 season, the last 4 league games that we had to play, we have already qualified for the Champions League final by that time. I think we had 3 or 4 games in the league remaining, and there was an equation that if we win all of them, we win the league, which we couldn't in the end. Like Luis Enrique's Celta and beat us, and I think we drew against Valladolid or something like that.
That sounds right.
So I think during that time, Ancelotti said this for the first time, that each of these games are finals. And that was a time when Zidane used to like take notes from Ancelotti's press conferences. So I think like, all right, he noted that down and like used and overused it for all of his managerial career here. But we love that. We have named our podcast in that. Yes, Ancelotti's first Champions League game since Real Madrid were knocked out at the Bernabeu by another Italian side, Juventus, another Ancelotti's former side, and we're going back to Ancelotti's former home at the San Siro. So it's going to be a big occasion as well. He might have one eye on that game and look to rest a few players. I do agree that Modric might be one of those players, and I wouldn't mind, because after the Celta Vigo game, we actually have 2 back-to-back really big games against Valencia and Inter Milan. So some resting might just happen there. But it's good to see actually that players are coming back from injuries now that more options have opened up. We have an abundance of options, particularly in the front line, don't you think?
Yes, I think so, especially with Vazquez and Asensio. I mean, I could absolutely see Lucas Vazquez start on Sunday. I mean, he's a great option. I could absolutely see it. I mean, he's a workhorse. I mean, that could be exactly what we need against someone like Javi Galan. If he's going to press up, Lucas Vazquez can sit right in that space out wide under him. I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, I would prefer to have Gareth Bale out there, but Lucas Vazquez has rarely failed to put in the correct shift needed from him at Real Madrid. He always does exactly what he's asked. So I would not be opposed to him starting.
And one more thing, like, I know this is not going to happen unless we're like 4-0 or 5-0 up by the 60th minute, but I would actually like Karim Benzema to have some significant rest in this game, because he has been tirelessly playing for Real Madrid. Although he did not play like all the minutes for France during this international break, but still he had to travel and he did play. And now he has come back and training again. The big games that I just mentioned, there is going to be huge responsibility once again for him. So if we are in a comfortable position, knock on wood, that's hardly ever the case for Real Madrid anymore. But if we are already, then like I don't mind whoever plays in that center forward role at that point, Bale, Jovic, Rodrigo, Asensio, whoever he wants to bring in. But I would actually like Benzema to get some rest, because he has been in phenomenal form, and he needs probably some of it in this game as well. My listeners in Madrid Betar would be very confused at this moment, because I have like created this huge joke about like someone who doesn't like Benzema once said that he needs rest, so Jovic should play the last 20 minutes. And in our Bengali football community, I have like turned this into a huge cult of a joke. So it coming from me that Benzema actually needs rest and another striker should probably play some time. I think the time has finally come for that to happen, because whenever we were arguing that Benzema has to play every minute, he wasn't playing for France at that time. Now that he is, I think some rest might do him well. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming into this Champions League period, the first start of the group stage, as much rest as possible is needed for these guys that are over 30. I mean, I would take Benzema. I would not sit him against Valencia, but I would be totally fine if we got a 2-goal lead early on, sat him for a full half. I don't care. I mean, obviously you want to prioritize every game. Every game is a final, but I think you need to prioritize some games over the other. And I would much rather win the league than the Champions League. But starting out, I mean, a firm base in the Champions League group stage is very, very important.
Yeah.
So I would have no problem if Benzema was rested for more than a half an hour on Sunday against Celta. I mean, he's going to need it. I think just given our lack of depth in that position and the lack of trust Ancelotti has in Jovic, Benzema's going to be playing so many minutes this season. Yeah. So getting him these little pockets of rest is going to be incredibly important, especially late on in the season for his fitness purposes.
Yeah, and for that, like we actually. Benzema has currently kind of become our Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. We are so much dependent on him for our attack, particularly. We need to, like, I think the team needs to come up collectively and relieve him of this pressure, because otherwise he's going to be carrying the team one more time. And what I'm trying to say about this is, if the team comes in collectively and doesn't lose points, then actually Benzema doesn't have to start every game. Usually what we have seen so many times is that, like, by the 10th match day, we're 7 points, 8 points behind the league leaders, and we're always trailing every game. That point is in fact a final. With all due respect, with all teams in La Liga, the fantastic teams in La Liga, some home games shouldn't be counted as finals. We should be winning them and playing them more comfortably, but I think the team needs to come up collectively for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you see games. I think last season, Lionel Messi didn't play the first half against Real Betis, I believe. Like,
yes,
they are a very talented team, and for them to rest him for part of that match, I mean, that is a first incredibly bold move. And I mean, he did come off the bench, and I believe he scored and assisted, or scored 2 and assisted, or something like that. But the fact that Barcelona were willing to rest the greatest player of all time in a game against a side that is competing for the Europa League, Conference League, I mean, that's insane. I mean, I don't remember the last time we sat Benzema where he didn't start a relatively key match, something that a competition that we were not completely out of. So I would kill to see him get some well-deserved rest and actually see someone else get some time. Because, I mean, I feel like at some point we need to put a little bit of trust in Jovic and see what he can do. Obviously now is not the time for that, but at some point I would like to see him get 90 minutes and to give him a chance to see what he can actually do. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
And, like, as much as I hate that Real Madrid is not even the second best team in the history of Copa del Rey, once again, with due respect, I do not care what we do in this tournament this season as well. I'm saying just because we just don't have a squad deep enough that can, that the main team can just play all the games, and we can bring in players and 50 minutes, 60 minutes in each game, and then have the same kind of results. Something like Manchester City or PSG can afford to do. So I think what Ancelotti is like, I don't want Benzema to go anywhere near any Copa del Rey matches. Like, let Lunin, Jovic, and the young lads, they're still capable of playing well. If given the floor, they're still capable of playing well. If Dani Ceballos comes back, I don't know if he'll ever play for Real Madrid again. I think there's a talk ongoing that he might go on loan to Betis in January. But whoever is there, like Isco, the Camavingas are going to be there. The Blancos are going to be there. Some Castilla guys are also doing really well. Like Arribas is on fire right now. Marvin is on fire. So let them deal with the Copa del Rey. If you reach the semi-final, final, we'll see. If these guys can get you to the semi-final and final, it's only fair to them that you let them play the semi-final or final as well.
Yeah.
But like I'm thinking way too far ahead. We hardly get through to the first couple of rounds of the Copa del Rey right now. But I hope that Ancelotti does not put the Copa del Rey pressure on Benzema, Modric, Carvajal, these guys who are essential parts of the first team and have had injury issues as well. I think that for that part, he should completely have a different team for the Copa del Rey.
Yeah. I feel like we got a tad bit off topic talking about the So I do want to touch back on Celta a little bit. My biggest key for Real Madrid this match day against Celta, I think, it lies in the midfield, and it's very tough in this situation that I don't know who's going to play in the midfield. It's not like we're going to roll out Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro like always. So I don't know. I mean, Celta Vigo's main attacks are one, playing direct balls into the feet of their two strikers. Their center backs are some of the highest. They have some of the highest long ball counts in La Liga. Araujo, I believe, is like top of the league right now in direct long balls, which shows how much they just hit long balls straight into the feet of their strikers, and that is just how their attack goes. They try to go direct, counter-attacking football. The other way they attack is through crossing. Javi Galan, massive crosser. Augusto Solari coming off the bench, massive crosser. Denis Suarez, pretty big crosser. They have a lot of targets. They bomb players into the penalty area for crosses. That is going to be a big threat against Real Madrid. So my biggest key for Real Madrid's success this match is to kind of control the midfield and to close off these strikers from receiving the ball. So what they're going to need to do is form some sort of box with the center backs around the two strikers. Something where I don't know if you play a double pivot in this match. That's why I'd love to see Antonio Blanco and Eduardo Kamavinga, maybe Casemiro and Camavinga, something like that, so that you can form a double pivot and then the two center backs to box around the two forwards in the middle. So they can just completely try and restrict them from receiving the ball to feet from any kind of direct progressive pass. That's my number one. Number two, they play such a wide 4-4-2 diamond, which you never see anymore, which I love. Eduardo Cudet's football is, aside from Real Madrid, Celta Vigo were my favorite team to watch last year. It's just so fluid, so much fun, such direct attacking football. I absolutely love it. But it's also very exploitable. If you get two central midfielders to fill in the gap in the middle of their 4-4-2 diamond, I mean, you control the entire midfield. Because Renato Tapia and Denis Suarez, they're staggered a bit. So if you can get someone to fill those gaps and similar with keeping the balls out of the feet of the forwards, keep Denis Suarez from receiving the ball, then you have pretty much stifled their entire attack. And we've seen that through Celta's 3 games this season. They have 1 point from 3 matches. And it was Atletico, Athletic Club, and they drew with Osasuna. I mean, these teams, it's not hard to figure out how Celta play and how to restrict them and how to stifle their attack. So if Real Madrid can just learn from this, just clog up the midfield, prevent their forwards from getting the ball to feet, and just don't get hit on the counter attack, don't make any stupid defensive errors, they shouldn't be conceding this match. Yeah, as long as they keep it clean. Celta is, I don't want to say easy to defend against, but they are predictable, and that is manageable, I would say.
Yep. If you hadn't stopped me to bring it back to the Celta discussion, I don't know where I would wander off next. Probably some geopolitical discussion. But I do want to pick off one of the things that you said. So since they play a wide 4-4-2 diamond, is there a significant gap? You think that there might be a significant gap between their fullback and the side midfielder or winger, whatever you want to call that? Because if there is, I think then Vinicius comes into the fray very nicely because he can exploit that gap really well with his straight runs.
Yeah, I think that could very easily be played. If Vinicius, can find that gap, it would just be an issue with Renato Tapia trying to close down the area of the passing lane to get him through. And Celta don't play the highest of lines. I mean, they have averaged a PPDA of around 8 this season. So they're going to press high, but they're not going to be gegenpressing on us. So there will be some sort of a high line. So, I mean, Vinicius could probably take advantage of that. It's more about the ball being played to him that would be an issue there. I mean, if he can pick up the ball in that situation, dribble at him, have at it. Hugo Mayo is not the fastest fullback.
Yeah.
He's talented. He's a great crossing-wise, good getting forward. But he could certainly be beaten by Vinicius in that situation 1v1. So if they can isolate Hugo Mayo on that side, or even Javi Galan, because he's fantastic going forward. He's a bit of a liability defensively, almost like a young Marcelo in that role. So if you can isolate either the fullbacks and take them on 1v1, game on. I mean, that's a pretty easy way to create chances for Real Madrid.
All right. I love these games where we absolutely have no idea what Real Madrid's starting lineup is going to be. Like usually if it's probably a Champions League quarterfinal, we know from weeks ago what the starting lineup is going to be, no matter who the manager is. But these games where like the team has some injury issues, of course, like we don't want that. That is unfortunate, and like some bizarre FIFA scheduling issues. We have players missing right now, so it's going to be interesting who Carlo Ancelotti names in his squad. I think he's going to announce his squad before or after the training session on Saturday. But once we see this match day squad, I think we'll have a pretty good idea who could start and who could not. Yeah. But what we missed in the last game, I think we missed the prediction. But on this game, I do want to take your prediction because I don't do predictions as usual. But go ahead, Charlie. What's going to be your prediction for this game?
I think 2-0 for Real Madrid is my prediction. I mean, I also could see 2-1. I don't know. It's Celta scoring. Do they get one? That's my big issue. I think Real Madrid will win this, and I think it'll be a cagey affair near the end. If Celta, because they will bomb numbers forward, and I think it will be it'll make us all anxious watching. But I think Real Madrid will walk away with the win. 2-0 is my guess. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Any prediction on the scorers?
Oh, Benzema twice.
Okay. That's very unique, Charlie. That's very new.
I don't know. I mean, I could see Vinicius grab one, but I mean, he's overperforming on how. You're bound to have just him hit a 10-game streak of not hitting the woodwork, or just not hitting the target whatsoever. So I don't even know. I mean, if he goes out and scores a hat trick against Celta, I mean, we could be really seeing like prime R9 forming right here. I mean, it just depends. Does he go up or does he go down?
And Vinicius is, I think, like I don't mind him like missing the one he missed, I think, against Atalanta, if I'm not making a mistake. Like he took this huge run and then missed right in front of the goalkeeper. Yep. Those are like still you can take those, but the one he missed against Sevilla that literally cost us the league. Like you're a professional footballer, dude. The ball cannot touch both of your feet when you're trying to take a shot. It was horrendous to look, and even like the shot that he tried to take off the goalkeeper's hand against Villarreal. Those were some of the Vinicius classics, from the vault. But I hope those don't repeat this season.
I'm sure they will at some point. He's gonna get something going like that, just for the memories,
Just for the memories. All right, Charlie, it's been a lovely session, a lovely episode coming back off of the international break. We're back into the groove. There are tons of Real Madrid games to cover, and we will do it all in the Es Una Final podcast. Thanks to our viewers and our listeners for being with us. Do follow us on Twitter at Es Una Final Pod, and we will catch you the next time.